It's it's like a similar concept to complete the bar with notes, but it's slightly more abstract in a sense. Right, where are we?
Oh no, I didn't get the panel one, got the computer bar with the rest.
Ooh, okay. Can you put photos on Google Classroom right now? And I'm gonna look at Lean's questions.
Yeah, I didn't get the exact same question.
Oh, okay. Right, that's the creative. Did you get a shot of the melody right? That's fine.
So you also some cases.
If you don't understand it, sure. You do understand, yeah. Yeah, and you got them. Oh wait, no, they're manual marked. Yeah, they're manual. Let's start with these two. I'll go back to the other. I'll go back to the creative one later. So with this one, being these notes roughly.
So isn't it exactly there or?
Group posture. So attach. So if you're taking a screenshot, attach some group posture. That's where I see all the So with this one, yeah, okay. This is a symbol for cut common time, which means 2-2. I think with these types of questions, I think you're given like quaver and then like two unbeamed semiquavers and then rest, a single quaver, and then something like that, right? You're given single ones. Okay, so with this, right, 2-2 means quavers are grouped in minimum beats. So that means with this one, that is worth a crotchet. So that should be beamed all together. There's a rest that you can't do anything about. That needs to be separate. So because this is 1 minute. So all that is worth 1 minute. But that needs to be beamed together. That's a semi-quaver there. So quaver, beam to that double semi-quaver together. And this has to be beamed like this. So for example, that and that becomes you've seen it written like that? Has to look like that. And now that is just like this. Yeah, so that's a correct way to beam something in 2-2. So with time signatures, the bottom number will always tell you, no, it only works with simple time, but the bottom number will always tell you what kinds of notes the quavers are grouped in. Only works with simple time because you know that in compound time, 6/8 and 9/8, quavers are always grouped in 3. But 2, 2, 3, 2, we've done, so those are grouped in minims. We've done 2, 2, and 3, 2, or like cut common time. 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4. The quavers are grouped in crotchets, and in 3, 8, the quavers are grouped in more quavers. Hello. That makes sense? And yeah, so this one, just the bottom number in simple time. Yes, by the way, 3, 8 is technically simple time. The bottom number in simple time will always tell you in what way, in what note value you should group your quavers. So by default, if you have consecutive quavers in 2, 4, or 3, 2, in 2, 2, or 3, 2, sorry, you have to beam them in 4. In 2, 4, 3, 4, and 4, 4, you beam them in 2, and then 3, 8 is single quavers. That's correct. Write the name note for the given key. That's easy. Scale degrees. I think that this has probably been worth 1 mark, right? Okay. So median is the 6th scale degree. D harmonic minor, for example, D, E, F, G, A. The 6th scale degree is a B flat. Remember how I said, I think we did this like in the very first lesson. Triangle. Note, scale degree. If you know any two, you can find the other. So, you're given the note and scale. You're given the note and scale. No, sorry, you're given the scale and scale degree here, and you have to figure out the note. You just count in terms of the scale. You count in terms of the scale degree. So to figure out the note which corresponds to the scale degree in that scale. That's a bit long-winded, but this is a perfectly normal question, involving just knowing your scale degrees, knowing your scales. And that's why the scale section is worth 21 marks. Okay, what else do you get?
So like a ton of stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna go first page. I think this, yeah, that's just the reverse. That's just the other thing of what we did is you're given the note and you're given the key, and you need to find the scale degree in which that note is in the given key. So E is the 5th note of A major. It's simply the dominant. Yeah. Did you get that correct? Or were you just confused? Okay. It's simple. Just count. Know your scales. You need to know your key signatures, and then count up. If you know your scales really, really well, actually no, you're supposed to know your scales. You need to think. This is how you're supposed to think when you do the question. For example, A major looks like this. A, B, C, H, A, you think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is an E, E is 5, 11. Okay. So that's kind of like the thinking process required for this um for this problem. Um, Transition. Yeah, I saw this one before. Accidentals. I don't know what the question was.
Transposition part of the mind.
Accidentals.
In like mine is a bit easier than hers.
Um, I think it went on like longer. There was more to the right. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, is that 12 marks? I think it's 12 marks. Yeah. Okay. In any case, yeah. Oh. Okay. For the bit that you've screenshotted, right? Accidentals. I need to explain this further.
So mine is a bit different.
Yeah, as I said, there's 6 different like examples. So, no. Yeah. Come on, load. It's loaded. Oh yeah, and on a side note, if you're given the scale degree and if you're given the scale degree and the note, um, you actually come up with 2 different scales sometimes. So for example, F sharp as the dominant. Okay, we haven't done this yet, but like if you think about it, it can be either B major or B minor. They both have F sharp as their dominant. So probably giving the note and scale degree is quite uncommon in exams. They have done it before, but I think like since there's usually multiple answers, they scrap it from the. It's usually not an exam question. Expand. Okay. In the original example, this what was the original thing in? What was the original? Do you still have the original question? Because this is just the answer. Um, I suppose there was like a sharp. There was a sharp on that note, or maybe like a natural. I don't know what key you were in before.
So do I have to like move up a semitone?
Um. Okay. No. For example, with transposition, it works like this. So with transposition, you have, for example, F major, a melody in F major that you want to put into, say, by the way, you cannot transpose from major to minor. You have to do major to major and minor to minor. Say you wanted F major to A flat major, going down. So down E flat major. So for example, in this case, you'd move every single note in F major to E flat major. In this case, you make everything go down a tone because, for example, F and E flat is a tone apart. Yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. F and E flat is a tone or a major second apart. So to move F major down to E flat major, every single note. Okay. Maybe it'd be better to look at it like this. Um, E flat. F major. E flat major looks like this. That's F to E flat, turn. G to F, another turn. That's an A to a G, is also a turn. B flat, that's an A flat, E signature, turn, 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 turn. They're all a turn apart. So that means no matter if you had any accent, for example, if I had a melody which had a C sharp, that was originally a B natural. That was originally a B flat, sorry, that's B natural. Notice how now that C sharp to B is still a tone. So that's one way to track this. The other way to do it is scale degrees, but you can't account for accidentals. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. That means that if you had this note in a melody in F major, it would become this note in E flat major. Similarly, if you had this note in F major, it would become this note in E flat major. So, two ways of doing transition. The other way is intervals between notes of your melody. That's more useful for checking rather than, but it's more useful for checking accidental, for example. Do you have the original?
I just need it.
Okay. B flat major. That's the whole question, if not cut off. Okay, cool. That's useful. B flat major to E major. Okay, but 4 sharps. You should know that E major. B flat. E. Let's do this with scale roots. I think with this one, you have to like put the notes on yourself instead of adjusting. Is that right? So you have to write that yourself.
Yeah, you have like the beats already.
Oh yeah. Oh wait. So they gave you like dotted crotchet, quaver, crotchet. Okay, and then you just have to add pitch on. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Okay. With this one, we're going to do this with scale degrees first. 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, 5, 4, 3, 1, 6, 5, 4 sharp, the E flat there. There's an E natural there, so the flat has been sharped to become a natural. 2, 3, 4 sharp again. Why? Because this accidental still applies here. It's repeated notes, still applies. So repeated notes within the same bar still need the accidental. And here 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7 flat, 6 flat, 5, 5, 1. Sometimes I sometimes like to put that just to remind myself I'm going down the octave. Okay. And now we gotta do it in email. Okay. Got to. I mean, you guys submitted a lot of questions. I think
So
we still need to do melody writing because I mean we haven't done it yet, and that's like the only topic that we have left.
so like the vocabulary, you just have to do it yourself.
Vocabulary, yeah, please memorize yourself. I can't force you to memorize vocabulary. I can't like I can't stuff vocabulary into your brains. I recommend just like I recommend just like making flashcards, Quizlet. Yeah, just vocabulary is kind of like your own thing.
Just search it up.
How many lessons do you have?
Today, Tuesday, and Wednesday's your final lesson.
And when's our mock test?
Oh, I canceled the mock test. You're doing the mock test at home. You want to do the mock test.
Yeah.
You want to do the mock test. No, I don't want to waste so much class time doing something that you can do at home anyway. So I'm gonna send you all the test papers. I'm gonna send you all the textbook answers. So all the questions that you've done by yourself on the textbook and correct them yourself. And then I'm gonna send you your certificate of achievements. Hooray. Right.
And where is the vocabulary? Like what page is it?
Page is on page. Um. Where is it? Terms and signs 62.
Oh.
Yeah. No. Need some state paper. Okay. So here we need 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, 5 up the octave, 3, 1, 6, 5, 4 sharp, 2, 3, 4 sharp. Yes, please do something. I have flashcards if you do want to borrow them.
What flashcards again?
Like you make I would actually highly recommend having this book. It has some nice games, some crossword puzzles that keep you entertained. They have like these flashcards. I haven't cut them out yet. I'm supposed to cut them out. Like flashcards, like if you cut them out, you can test yourself, like what does slowly mean? I mean, what's the Italian lento, loud, forte, etc. can test yourself. I think no, you need to know Italian to English. Because they're Italian.
Well, they also get off like English to Italian.
They probably won't also.
They should.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's concerning. Okay, then you need to know them both ways around. Okay. And you need to know them both ways. That's cool. Good luck with that.
They somehow only got the one Italian to English one. They got English to Italian.
English to Italian, okay. That's weird. Most people are good at Italian to English, but not English to Italian. Because yeah, they don't memorize like English. They relate Italian terms with but anyway. So here B flat major, we need to go to E major. E major is a key signature of 4 sharps. If you don't know that, you're in trouble. Okay. For reference, and I recommend you do this as well. I'm going to write out the notes of the flat major. The flat major key signature of 2 flats, C, D, A. Transpose this melody. Oh, okay. It just says transpose this volume melody into. Usually it was said transpose melody up or down, up into the major key. But since it doesn't say, I suppose you can do it either way. Let's go up. I think, yeah, let's go up. Let's see. We haven't done this yet, but if you were to do this the intervals way, B flat to E flat is the chart. So maybe instead 6 semitones. By the way, I know we haven't done this yet, but like you don't really know it, a tritone is 6 semitones, aka an augmented fourth or shit. Do that in grade. But if you were to do this intervals way, it'd be kind of hard, in my opinion. Because for a start, we haven't learned how to tritone works. Also, you have to count a lot of semitones. In that case, let's do this with scales. Right, we're going up. Keep the time signature the same. 1, 2, 3, 2, and 5 in E major is B. You know how I told you that you can check kind of intervals between notes? This is what I'm talking about. When you're confused between which note to do, you can think of it about like this. This is a perfect fifth. So that means that this has to be a perfect fifth as well. So in transposition, its function, all the notes, the pitch is different, but its tonality is the same. It's kind of like relative, it's relative tonal, it's relative tone compared to the its respective scale, it's still the same, which means that all intervals have to be the same, all accidentals have to be accounted for, and most importantly, all the notes durations are the same, all the articulations have to be kept, and all the dynamics have to be kept. It's not in grade 3 theory, but I think when you do transition to grade 4 theory, they start chucking in a bit of articulation markings, just throw you off. Because a couple kids in grade 4 theory they just ignore the articulation marking and they lose like 1 or 2 marks on their transposition. Yeah, cool. Now this 5 up the octave, or did you do it up the octave? Yeah, okay. Transpose this fundamentally into the major key indicator. That's weird, because like, how would they know? So this is automatically marked. How would they know if they? How would they know if you transpose down instead? Because that answer is if you transpose up. So what if you transpose down?
I think they're able to do both of them. I think so.
Okay, that's weird. Because on the exam, they have like one final thing to trip people off is like transpose this melody like up or down into the major key indicated by the key section. That trips a lot of people because they forget to read up or down. That's curious. Yeah, I guess you could do it like both ways then, but I don't see there's no answer for transposing it down. It's very curious. Okay, let's keep going. So 6, the 6th scale degree in E major is a C sharp. If you want to do it, if you want to double check, this is a major 6. So that means that this has to be a major 6 as well. Checking E to C sharp. Yep, that's a major 6. What? Yes, that's right. Now, careful with accidentals. 4 sharp. That's an A. Since you still need to raise it. Sharp. If you want to double check, F to E is a semitone, so that means B to A sharp has to be a semitone. And yes, indeed it is. F G 4 sharp. We don't need to put another sharp there again because the sharp has already been in the previously in the bar. And now 5. Then we need to go down the octave. Consecutive accidentals are designed to like trip people up. This is how you're supposed to deal with it. You do it normally, and then B flat to A flat is one tone. So that means that you need E to D natural, which is one tone. And now, that is something else. A flat to G flat is one tone. So you still need D to C to be one tone. So consecutive accidentals really trip people up. So either they forget about one of the accidentals, or they forget that the key signature was there, and they just do it normally, which is kind of what you did. But be careful with consecutive accidentals. I recommend when you have these, you be super careful with your intervals, right? So for example, you think instead of thinking in terms of scale degrees, which would make it a whole lot harder for you because scale degrees don't account for accidentals. B flat to A flat is a tone. So that means that what you need here is a tone. And then you adjust the required accidental near to make it a tone. And now D to C should be a tone because A flat to G flat is a tone. So make sure that you use the required accidental to make C natural. And now the rest is easy. Whoops. And then, sorry, that's not 5, that's 7. E, and then with the double bar finish. Does this make sense, Lee? Yeah, okay. So be careful with accidentals. So with consecutive accidentals and accidentals in general, count your intervals between the notes. Don't go blindly off scale degrees because I'm telling you, it doesn't work for accidentals unless you're super careful with what you're doing. Instead, with accidentals, go off intervals. Count your intervals between the notes, and if you want to, count your intervals between the scale, between the keys as well. So when I say count the intervals between the notes, I mean count the intervals between those two notes, aka total. But when you count the intervals between the keys, you go from B flat major to E major. You think B flat to E flat is a tritone, so that means that's that note and that note has to be a tritone. I'm done tritones. It's okay. It's not important. What else did you submit? Perfect, and play with painters. I'm gonna save that for later. Because we still need to do melody writing. Okay, Emily, what you said. Olivia, is Amanda you? Who's Amanda Lee? Who are you in the question?
It's me. Hillary, it's me.
Ah, okay. Yeah, it's Andrew. Sure. Thank you. Okay.
Oh, that's it.
It's not tricky, but it's a bit. It's trying to trick you. With this one, right? It's trying to trick you with that duplet. This is just worth a triplet quaver. So, we're in 6/8, so it's just worth 3 quavers. Yeah. So, use this. There we go. See, this is what I warned you about. Use the smallest number of rests.
Isn't that the smallest one?
No, because you did a full bar rest there. Oh no, that's a minimum rest.
Should be like the smallest, like the quantity or the smallest thing.
The smallest quantity of rests. So you don't want to use as many different rests essentially. So for example, the correct answer here is actually dotted crochet rest.
Okay.
So you know why? Okay, so let's do this.
On top, that's 3 quavers.
That's 3 quavers.
And what about the one with 3 on top?
That's a triplet. Okay, so there's something we're not getting. You can only use duplet. You can only use that in compound time, and sometimes 3/8. Usually, you don't see it much in 3/8 though. Duplets can only be used in compound time, and triplets can only be used in simple time. You know what I mean, like simple compound time, right? Yeah. Triplets can only be used in simple time. The 3 on top means triplet, and that is equal to 2 quavers, right? This duplet is equal to 3 quavers. So when you have 6/8, I'm gonna ignore I'm gonna ignore the clef. We don't need any pitchings anyway. When you have this in 6/8, You still need like 3 more quavers essentially to complete the bar, right? 6, 8. So this is worth. So this duplet is worth 3 quavers. You need another 3 quavers to complete the bar. Or you could have a dotted crotchet. 3 quavers is a dotted crotchet, correct? Or it tells you to complete the bar with rests. Using the smallest possible number of rests, simply a dotted crotchet rest, which looks like that, if you're wondering. And also, dotted crotchet rest can only be used in compound time as well. So there's a couple like special things that are exclusive kind of to compound time. Dotted rests, you can only use in compound time. Dotted minimum rest looks like this. And that can be only dotted minimum rest. That can only be used in quite you use it in 6/4 time, which you do in grade 4 theory. So 6/4 time is in it's basically 6/8, but it's 3 crotches. Huh? Mostly you can use it in 9, but that's rare. Seeing it in 9/8 is quite rare. But it's mostly used for 6/4 time, and that means like 3 beats worth of rest.
And dotted crotchet rest already used in the compound.
Yes, so no, dotted rests in general can only be used in compound time. But like for example, if you had let's say 2/4 and you had a quaver, you can't complete the bar with a dotted crotchet rest. That is not allowed. Yeah, it's not compound time. So 2/4 is not compound. Instead, you have to use quaver rest, and then crotchet rest. Because 2/4 has to be grouped in. Okay, before I start, 2/4 also has to be grouped in quavers. Sorry, crotchets. So that means like crotchet separation here, and then another crotchet here. So that's dotted crotchets are only using 6/8 time. So dotted rests are exclusive to 6/8 time. You can only use dotted crotchet rests and dotted minimum rests under rare circumstances in compound time. The duplet you can only use in compound time, with the possible exception of 3/8, but it's quite rare. So 3/8 is simple time. You might find a duplet, but it's quite rare. Triplets are only used in simple time. Got it? Okay. Now, was just in it. So is that clear? Perfect.
These are pretty clear for the other ones, I think.
Are the other ones like all rhythm related? Oh, that's
Yeah,
the same thing.
Some of them are like the rhythm line one.
This one?
No.
This one's okay? So that one, dotted minimum, that's a dotted minimum rest you can only use in compound time. So it's a similar problem. So
Yeah.
I would make sure you separate that rest into a crotchet rest and then a mini rest. Okay. Right? That's the simple solution. This one, is it the same? This one opening sucks. The Wi-Fi down here is still very bad. That's the same. This is the same. Oh no, it's not. 9/8 time. 9 quavers in total, grouped in 3, right? So this is the same as 3 quavers. So this thing here.
I think I'm mostly got the problem with the 2 on the top.
Yeah, so the duplet is worth 3 quavers. So that's they always include the duplet in some of the rhythm questions in compound time to try and trip you up. They put triplets in some of the simple time questions as well, and they're only there to try and trip you up, right? You need to know and understand that a triplet in simple time is just worth two quavers, is just worth two of its respective notes, and a duplet in compound time is just worth three of its respective notes. Okay, okay. Treat both of these like it's not really triplet quavers. It's like yeah, three group quavers. Yeah, three quavers. It's you can't really say it's a triplet quaver essentially. Treat both of these like three quavers. So if you have three quavers here and three quavers here, you need another three quavers or a dotted crotchet to make up one whole bar of 9/8, right? Dotted crotchet, we just have a dotted crotchet rest. Okay, simple. Oh my God. Was that the same thing? Oh no, I answered the question on email. Did I? Yeah, so for this one, you know, I'm gonna I still need to probably demonstrate it because no one else has seen this question
I
yet.
just read like today.
Yeah, okay. Oh my God. I need to go all the way down and continue here. Beam these notes correctly according to the given time solution.
I think just need to type more. No, I think it's still possible.
Huh?
I just think I don't think there's no simple.
Yeah, but no one else has seen this question yet. All right. So with this one, firstly, let's fix what you did wrong first. That can't be grouped together because in 3/2, simple time, the quavers have to be grouped in 4. Since you have consecutive quavers here, by the way, the quaver grouping rule only works when you have consecutive quavers or anything of lesser value. If you have, like, for example, like a crotchet interrupting it, then obviously you can't beam the crotchet together because it wouldn't be a crotchet anymore.
So 3/2 quavers can only be grouped in 4.
Pardon?
3/2 like only quavers can be.
So 2/2 and 3/2 quavers are grouped in 4. Only when you have consecutive quavers. If you have something breaking in the middle, you have to break the beam and then continue it on. But for example, if I had quaver, crotchet, I would have to break the beam here because if I beam that to the crotchet, the crotchet would become a quaver. If I another example, if I had, for example, okay, this is a bit broken up. Quaver, crotchet, and two semiquavers, I would have to break the beam, but then the semiquavers are beamed together. But if I had crotchet, if I have quaver, crotchet, and then like something like that, that's not allowed. I have to break the beam there because this is worth 1 minimum. Got it? So with this one, you have to beam it there. You have to separate that one.
What if can I separate the last one?
Where?
Like, am I able to separate?
Like here?
Yeah.
No. Quaver 4. So consecutive quavers are grouping 4.
Okay.
Okay, so essentially, you have the time signature. The bottom number tells you what kind of notes, what the main beats are, and therefore how you should group your rest, quavers, notes, whatever. In 3/2 or 2/2, the bottom number is 2, so that means quavers have to be grouped in minims. Since 4 quavers is equal to a minim, that means that quavers always have to be grouped in 4. When you have consecutive quavers, okay, another way to think about this, This is wait. There's something I'm not getting. That's a crotchet. That's a crotchet. Ah, right. They split the beat. That's tricky. And there's 4 quoted here. Okay, that's actually very clever, and it's very it's very tricky, as in like it's kind of it's trying to fool you. I find that AMEB questions, they love to fool you. Right. In this case, okay, ignore everything we just did because they've done something here called syncopation. Have any of you heard of syncopation? When they put like the main beats, when they put notes off the beat, essentially. So they don't have the notes that sound on the strong beats. Have all of you been taught to count like 1, 2, 3, 4? I don't know, during orchestra or something. Like has Michelle ever told you like count your bars 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3? Anyway, it's unfortunately that's what you have to do here. 1 and 2. Just so you don't get confused, unfortunately. 3 and 4 and 5. What? Are you sure you copied the question correct?
No.
Because there is something that's not adding up. There's something that's not adding up.
Yeah.
Get the question up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at. Well, I mean, oh, this file's not correct either. What are I doing here? Oh wait, yeah. Firstly, so the last bar is missing a crotchet because the anacrusis. Anacrusis. So that's correct.
Oh, I know where it's from. This is my answer.
Okay. Can I see the original question?
Yes, let's see.
I just want to look at computer because I just want to like get this question. Can I just look at your computer? Oh, okay. Right. Okay. That makes everything so much more clear. So that was supposed to be a dotted crotchet and a quaver. No, I just saw it. So dotted crotchet quaver, and then 4 quavers. And that makes everything so much clearer because I don't know. I didn't think that they would allow this because you beamed a dotted crotchet and a quaver together, and I was like, what? That's not even the right number. Anyway, okay. There's no syncopation here though. That's easy. So you just separate it like that, and then the quaver gets grouped in 4. Okay. Okay. Yes. You weren't supposed to beam the dotted crotchet and the quaver because then that becomes a dotted quaver, right? And that becomes that becomes like a semi-quaver. Because the beams only work for quavers and anything of less value. Like for example, 2 crotchets are written like that, but 2 quavers have a beam.
Okay.
But you can't beam these two crotches, otherwise they become a quaver. Right? Okay. Mm. Okay. Moving on. A bit of a no. Yes, but no. Okay. Um, what?
I know this one thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Just make sure those quavers are grouped into three.
I think that's some of the last one.
Actually, no. This is actually a bit confusing because when you group it in three, you have to watch out for where the quavers go. For where the semi-quavers go. Sorry, this is what I'm talking about. By the way, if you're not aware, grade 3 theory matches to grade 7 instrumental in like any instrument. So if you do grade 3 theory, and you get a good mark for that, it's equivalent to like you basically get your full certificate saying you've completed grade 7 piano, grade 7 violin, or
Yeah, that's why I
grade 7.
do it.
Okay. So you've already done your grade 7 violin or piano.
Finally.
Okay. And you want to get the certificate for it. Yeah, understandable. So with this one you have to be careful with. We gotta separate this into dot and crotchet words first. Changing in the notes again. Did you change the notes? Please check.
I think I said the oh my god.
You definitely changed notes because that's not that doesn't.
Yeah. The original question.
Yeah, you changed notes again. That's okay. In which case, I think I still got it. That's worth
Oh,
a
it's me all my own answers.
yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Dot and crotchet there. That is split up. What? Oh wait. Oh wait. Right. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's worth a dotted crotchet, and that's worth a dotted crotchet. So in 9/8, split everything up into dotted crotchet worths because by default 9/8 is dotted crotchet, dotted crotchet, dotted crotchet, right?
each bar I just split in double.
So
would it add up to double?
the logistics of 6/8 and 9/8 time, so compound time in general, is that the main beats are dotted beats, correct? So that's the gist of 6/8 and 9/8. So that means in 6/8 and 9/8, the main beats are 1, 2. So this is for 6/8, by the way. So 6/8, 1, 2, 1, 2, etc. In 6/8, I'm sorry, in 9/8, the main beats are what do you want to say? Direct emoticon. In 9/8, it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Even though the quavers are grouped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But the quavers are there, so it sounds like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 9/8 with quavers sounds like 9/8 with quavers sounds like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 9/8 within its main beats sounds like I'm gonna tap the quavers. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. No, no, it's so funny. It's the main, that's where the main beats come when you have 9. 1, 2, 3, 1. Quavers. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's how 9/8 works. 6/8, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. We still have the 3 quavers. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 2 strong beats in 6/8, 3 strong beats in 9. That's why 6/8 is called compound duple and 9/8 is called compound triple. So when you're writing in compound time, separate them into dotted crotchets first, because that's where that's how the quavers are grouped. So in essence, the correct answer to this is, I think we're told the correct answer, but you don't understand it. In which case, so quaver, this quaver cannot be beamed because there's a rest in the middle of it. So you cannot beam those two.
Yeah.
With this one, and with this one, you do it like this.
So I can be like those.
That's worth a dotted crotchet, so that has to be beamed altogether. That's the only logic behind it. So beam any quavers or its natural equivalents. So semi-quavers, dotted quavers, and anything less than that can be beamed together if they're consecutive and if you beam them correctly in their respective note value groups. And with this one, again, semi-quavers and quaver, you need to do this. Bar line, the dotted crotchet stays as a dotted crotchet. You can beam this entire thing together. You can beam this entire thing together. 1, 2, 3, 4. That becomes that. Do you see how that computes? Yeah, so this is worth a dotted crotchet if you think about it. And now that quaver at the end is on its own plus 2 quaver rests. You cannot group those 2 quaver rests together. I don't think it'll let you. Well, I mean, it's grouping the notes anyway. You can't replace that with a crotchet rest because then you can do primary rule. You cannot group beats 2 and 3 together. So no crotchet rest there. And we have 2 messages. I still want to get to Andrew's questions, but then we don't have time for Melody right now. How about
Do we have like till Wednesday?
yes,
So what is
Monday today. So how about this? We're going to melody writing now. Andrew, I'm going to look at your questions next lesson. I'm going to look at the rest of your questions next lesson, and then we're going to do more cadence writing next. We're going to do more cadence revision next lesson. We are going to do a Kahoot on terms and signs, and we are going to do a. Can you bring a computer next?
Yeah.
We usually do. Yeah. Okay. Cool. We usually do Kahoots. So,
Oh yeah. I have 2 questions. So first, are we gonna do the exam like at this a video or do
you can do the exam first. So if all of you have logged into the AMEB score portal, the AMEB score portal, by the way, I have to say, like when you log into the official exam, it usually sends you onto like another application where you can't close or open any new tabs until you finish the exam. And if it detects you going off the tab, it alerts the official who's in charge and you might get stuck.
can't put other tabs now. So when you exam, you can't put other tabs.
You can't open other tabs on the same device, but you can easily get around that by using another device. But just do it honestly, do it with integrity, and you get an integral mark. So I guess just do it properly. I mean, I guess there's also no one stopping you from protect the exam. But just do it honestly, I guess. Maybe with the exam, you're not you get sent to sort of a lockdown, kind of like a in that plan browser, they're locked down all the other applications that you can't access everything. Unless they change it since I did the exam, which they might have possibly. But when you log into your official exam, you can expect essentially questions like these.
And when you do the rhythm, right, are you able to tie 3 notes together?
Yeah, you can tie as many notes together as you want, as long.
Can't do it in the practice, so I don't know.
Can I see the question? There's a couple like logistics. So do you want to do a mock test?
Because my mom did have a good grade, so.
If you want to do a mock test, I can simply send you like the 2018 and 2019 like physical papers and you can print out and do it at home. Or on Wednesday, okay, this is gonna take a bit of this is gonna take a few maneuvers. Essentially, I need one of you to send me your AMEB login details. I'm going to log in onto your account. I'm going to open a practice exam, and then we're going to do the practice exam together. That's the only. That's like probably that's like a light skirmish, but I think we could pull it off. I feel like I'd rather just give you paper practice exams because I don't want the long details. Do you have the AMP textbook? It's good. That's good. Yeah. I have.
Play this together. You only have 2 items.
Watch this. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So the first goes really hard to write it down.
And versus.
So,
How do I put this? I've been using this a long time. By the way, can you please use a mouse for the exam? It's gonna make your life so much easier.
but I don't like using.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why? Oh no, look at this. Look at this. There. Use that setting. Like that.
Oh.
And
What?
so you see that thing there?
Uh-huh.
You click on the note at the start of the tie, and you click on the note at the end of the tie. And if you want to erase everything, just yeah. Okay, what else? Why is everyone swearing in the chat?
You're not swearing.
They're pretending to swear. Then we do Kahoot. Just have a phone next to you. Yes, Andrew and Daniel, stop coming up with new ways to hack the system.
So when we do have.
Just do the exam with integrity, please. We have 20 minutes for melody writing, which is definitely not enough time to do melody writing. So
I'm doing melody writing twice.
I'm going to do a little bit of melody writing today, and I'm going to do more melody writing tomorrow. So melody writing is on page 6. I don't like. I mean, I'm okay with how the book does it, but it lacks creativity. Sort of. It tells you to use chords to structure your bar.
Is there a specific pattern you melody writing, or can you just like not random notes?
Huh?
Do you have to like go with a specific pattern, or can you just put random notes?
No. They give you a rhythm, right? So you know like how with transposition they already gave you the notes, the actual rhythm of the notes, and you just have to adjust the pitch.
Yeah.
The same thing here.
So
they already give you the rhythm, and then you just have to adjust the pitch of the notes.
can you just put random put random notes?
So with melody writing, they're judging you on, I think, okay. Personally, I would judge you on 4 main components. The structure of your melody, that it has like a nice flow to it. The notes aren't leaping too much. There's no big leaps. Like if you have a big leap of a 5th or 6th, I would deem that acceptable. You have a start, a climax, and an ending. So kind of like a low, high, low, or low, high, higher. So like, for example, you start on a low pitch, you reach like a climax somewhere in the middle, and then you end on a high note, pun not intended. You end on a high note, or something like that.
Are you allowed to put like AMEB?
I don't think so.
Then how are you gonna judge the pitch? I mean, like the cushion.
No crescendo. I mean, like the climax. You don't need dynamics to indicate a climax. You only need to reach like a high point somewhere in the middle. So reach like a high pitch, like in second or in the middle of the second or third bar, and then you can drop back down or end it on a high note. And the fourth criteria I'll probably be judging you on is like basically, does your melody I guess, does your melody sound good? I guess that's more important than anything else. Does your melody sound good? And does your melody have
If it's like in a minor key and you make it sound like a major, it's like
I
melody.
don't think they give you minor keys because they usually tell you like
If you do a major key and then make it sound like a minor key, that won't work.
uh please don't do that. No, I can't imagine how you would make it sound like a minor key
Like just
at accidentals.
yeah.
Please don't do that. What you try and turn the C major into a C minor?
Yeah.
You're gonna add like E flats.
No, you can just
Like-
like get rid of all the sharps, make it all natural.
Please don't do that. No. My chat is getting stabbed with emojis. Okay, so I guess the melody writing's worth about like 8 marks, I think. Was it worth 8 marks? I think 8 marks. I'm gonna, 8 marks, okay, cool. 8 marks, I would separate into 4 main components.
Same with the rhythm writing.
Yeah, that's cool. So the rhythm writing, 4 main components. Your notes, okay, firstly, the words are on accented beats. I would give that 2 marks. You have a fair amount of variety, 1 mark. Examiners aren't very strict on variety. If you have straight notes, it's technically correct. I mean, maybe examiners who want to be distinctive would probably subtract 1 mark. I do want a bit of variety in your rhythm, so probably 1 mark for that. I would give you 2 marks for also a couple other minor marks. For example, if your rhythm should be either 4 or 8 bars long. If it's like 7 or like 3, that's a bit of an awkward number. I'd probably subtract 1 mark for that. You're following like rhythm laws essentially. Like for example, 6/8 is grouped in 3. If you're going to use 3/4, you're grouping your quavers in 2. 2 marks for that, and maybe like a final extra mark for writing the words under the notes. Because believe me, a lot of students forget that. A lot of students finish their rhythm and they're like, oh yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I would give you either like 1 or 2 marks. Don't forget to write your words, please. Also, hyphens for words of more than 1 syllable. And for melody writing, I would judge you on probably 4 main components. Your melody has a structure, so it has like a start, climax, and end. Your melody flows nicely. Your melody, yeah, I mean, like, what are the requirements, I guess? You have like a mix of notes. You have a good range, like about an octave. Like for example, like your melody is supposed to be sung, right? So think about you're composing a melody. Let's think about it like this. If you're composing a melody in the treble clef, make it appropriate for a soprano voice to sing. What is the range of a soprano? Don't look. No. Let's remember this. C4 to G, C4 to G5. So if you're doing it in the treble clef, make it appropriate for like a soprano to sing. It's the most common female voice range. If you're writing it in the bass clef, yes, they might ask you to write in the bass clef. Make it appropriate for, say, a tenor to sing. Tenor, what's the range of a tenor? Oh, damn it. C3 to G4. Yeah, so make it appropriate for like a tenor to sing. So a tenor is the most common, I guess, male voice range. So if you're writing your voice melody in the bass, keep it within the range of a tenor voice. Yeah, that's probably some good advice for you. If you're writing in the treble, keep it in a soprano range. If you're writing in the bass, keep it in a tenor range. That it's not strict. That's definitely not a very strict guideline for the range. Just make it like more than a fifth, but less than an octave and a fifth. I think that's probably a good range. If your melody is like only a fifth, only has like a range of a fifth, yeah, that's too small. Maybe like branch it out a bit, I reckon. How to branch it out? Maybe you can end on the upper tonic, end on a higher note. Pun not intended. Yeah. Oh yeah. Melody should start and end on the tonic. The exception is an anacrusis. The anacrusis should start on either the leading note or the dominant. You're given this rhythm. Make your melody flow. Sorry, make your melody flow by step, right? If you're going to leap between rests or longer notes. What I mean to say is, like, for example, if you were a singer, does anyone here do choir in school? Oh yeah, you do choir. Okay. So in choir, you wouldn't be asked to make so many big leaps between notes. Essentially, a singer is trained to, if there were a big leap, they don't have any reference note. They can only rely on their voice, right? So if you give them a long note to kind of like recalibrate almost, that's a good opportunity for them to jump onto a higher or a lower note. And also, if there's a rest in the middle, that's a very good sign. That means they have time to take a breath before going on to the next phrase. Right, so make it appropriate for a singer to sing. If there's a rest in the middle, obey that rest. I mean, you can't change the rhythm anyway, so keep that rest there. If you want to leap, make the leap happen between long notes. Move by step, move diatonically. When I mean diatonically, I mean like by scale degrees, right? So move diatonically, start on the tonic, end on the tonic. If there's an anacrusis, start on the dominant or the leading note. And mark the phrasing. So the phrasing would go like from the first bar to the end of the second bar to the third bar to the end. And more melody hints. Okay. Maybe.
You know, my friends got on YouTube.
Yeah, they probably would have.
Yeah.
Like me playing piano or me teaching theory?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
But she said it to me.
That channel was never supposed to be found. Because like it's only for like when I started playing like a lot longer pieces, we found that like, the files are too big to put on.
How would you like to play with another person?
Yeah, violinist, right? Yeah. He's the concert master of the symphony orchestra, the City Symphony Orchestra, the big symphony orchestra. And yeah, he's the concert master. But why are we off topic? Anyway, that channel was never supposed to be that. It was supposed to be like when I started playing longer pieces, it was like
Just search like someone.
never search up your teachers. It always leads to like really bad. I used to have an English teacher, which used to be like a stand-up comedian. I had an English teacher, we used to be like a stand-up comedian, and we didn't understand like why he was so serious in class. So we searched him up and we found out he was like a stand-up comedian, and we kept like, no my god, No, no, no. Yeah, never search up your teacher. It always it always like it never.
Not for teachers, so yeah. No, it's not Kingsley. Kingsley.
Daniel, why you playing Minecraft? Yeah, but like when I started playing longer pieces, we found like the files were too big, transport over like email over like all messages or something. So we uploaded it onto YouTube. I asked my dad to make it unlisted so only my teacher could see, but he doesn't know how YouTube works, so he made them all public. And I can't make it unlisted because it's too late to like withdraw them. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, like she already like recorded it. So even he doesn't really have to.
But then like I just started posting every single video on there, and my dad still doesn't know how to make the videos unlisted. So every single video is public, every single video is like completely out there. And you know what's really embarrassing? All my AME, so like during lockdown, the AMEB exams were held online, so you had to send a recording of your music to the examiners. And when I sent my recordings, I'll always send mine to my piano teacher first. But since all the recordings were like 20 or 30 minutes long, because like your grade 8 and your certificate recordings have to be like 30 minutes in length, we had to upload them to YouTube. And that means that all my AMEB video recordings are on YouTube. And that is super embarrassing. So yeah. But anyway, so yeah, no, that was the worst. That was really bad.
Yeah, we should.
First and last.
My semester was at the orchestra.
Yeah. The first and last bathroom. Okay. I don't particularly like how they teach melody, but I guess it could be easier for a couple of you. So I'm gonna teach you the way that they recommend. Essentially, melody writing. They suggest that you base your rhythm. They suggest that you base your melody off a structure of chords. What that means is that, for example, we've done 1, 4, and 5 chords. They recommend having those having like a broken chord notes within the bar and connecting them with what we call passing notes or passing notes. That means like to avoid these giant leaps between these chord notes. By the way, if you're observant, D, B, and D are the chord notes of chord 1 in G major, E, C, and A. It could be an A there. The chord notes of chord 4 in G major, you know, D, F sharp, and A, chord 5, and G. So that's how they want you to do this. So the passing notes, it means that they don't belong to the chord. They're just used to make the melody flow smoothly. Remember, in melody writing, make the melody flow smoothly, make it go by a diatonic step. But like, yeah, the passing notes are only there to make it move by steps. They add a bit of melodic interest and variety, and you can't leap to or from a passing note. They're only served to be passing between like two chord notes or between chord notes. And you can only have passing notes that fall on a weak beat. So I don't like how they teach it because they introduce like a bunch of really they introduce it in terms of chords, which I think is a bit of a premature concept. I usually say chords in melody writing until grade 4 or 5 theory, when you've done like chords in detail to actually like base your melody off chords. But like in grade 3, you haven't done that much work on chords yet, which is why I don't like to introduce this method so early. But I guess if it all goes for it, I suppose like those chords give your melody a bit of some very good structure. It's like based off a good framework because the chords, you have the framework there. So it sounds good. So with these chord notes, they're only for like, your starting basic, kind of like how we do with rhythm writing. We just have like straight or straight dotted crotchets for melody for rhythm writing. But with this, the chords here, they used to give it a bit of general framework. But with this one, essentially, what you want to do, if you start basing it off, if you start basing your melody off a structure of chords, I recommend you do 1-5, then 5-1, or 1-4, then 5-1. Those are the two best chord progressions to use. If you have an anacrusis, use 5-4-5-1. 5-1-5-1, I guess. Yeah, 1-5-5-1 or 1-4-5-1 sounds best. You can also do 1-5-4-1, but it's not recommended. Essentially, if you have chosen a chord structure, I strongly recommend 1-4-5-1. The 4 adds a bit of interest to it. With chord 4, please. Okay. So with chord 4, with all the notes, start with this chordal framework. So write down the chord notes to start, and then make sure you end on the tonic and start on the tonic. And then add passing notes. So I guess if we were to do this, let's do this. G major, 1, 4, 5. Oh, random space. Okay. 4, 5. I know the last note only has to be a bar long anyway. 1, 4, 5. No, you're right. We're about finishing. Well, if you want to copy this down, sure. So with 1, 4, 5, 1. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take one of the. Actually, no, it can't be wrong. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna do it without a rhythm, but you're gonna be given a rhythm in the exam. I'm just gonna go freestyle. Okay. So we're gonna start. Chord 1, D, B, D. Actually, I'm creative. Let's add an anacrusis to this. This is probably a bad example. I'm starting on the median, but okay, probably not the best example. I've decided to start on the median for this one. That's okay. As long as you start on, as long as you start the very first bar on the tonic. So, E, D, D, let's. And we're in 3/4. I forgot about that. We're in 3/4. Oh yeah, or session. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 And I'm curious, so I'm just going to quickly play this through and then we're done. This is very straightforward. I didn't do much after. Thank you. Well.
你会遇到前天啊？OK，只是今天是因为要那个，对。拜拜，everyone。拜拜。
Bye bye.